Welcome to the Green Recovery Challenge form monitoring spreadsheet. So if we look down the bottom, hopefully you can see my cursor, we've got various tabs: capital, revenue, volunteer in kind, hectares and engagement. So let's make a start with the capital. Essentially, as I'm using this form for all the projects, some rows have got strike through, and that's basically because you have no budget in that column, but other projects might have, so it just makes it easy for the grants manager to copy and paste. The red column here is budget, so you know how much budget. So in this case, in this example, Joe Blogs, it's £20,000 habitat capital. And then there's the actual amounts, and this is an automatic add up, so we can see that in the first quarter of Joe Blogs before March 21, we've had some tree surgery, we've had 200 metres of brow lifting, we've got evidence because the amount is over £1,000, so we need to keep evidence, and we keep that. You'll need to send that to me. And then there's the £5,000. If you can see, I can amend that figure, and you'll also see that then that figure also amended there. So next quarter I'll just carry on putting all my expenditure down in these columns. The other thing for me to mention is a non-recoverable VAT. So we need to know what percentage your organisation can recover from their VAT. That has to then be presented to the National Lottery Heritage Fund, and then once we've got that, it's easy to make the percentage. So in this example here, it's 100% VAT, but if it's obviously a low percentage, this figure here just needs to represent that. The other thing to mention then is that everything is added up in the end columns. So essentially the same thing on the revenue tab. I suppose the big difference is this much bigger tab, much bigger sheet, as you can see. We can, again, same issue with VAT, non-VAT is, the percentage that you're allowed to claim. So in terms of evidence, so we're not only wanting to see invoices over 1,000 this time, but also we need to see evidence of how staff time is processed. So that can either be a snapshot from your accounts package, and that you could open that up in Paint and just scrub out anybody's names. Or you can do a full cost recovery calculation, which is represented not in the staff time, but in the full cost recovery column. What's also really important with this is that any calculations of your day rates need to be approved by the Heritage Fund. So you need to send those over to me, and then I'll get those signed off. So that's essentially the actual spend side. And then we go on to volunteer in kind, and this is so probably what is worth saying in the first place is some of the information that you've given in your partnership agreement might not be on this form really, because I'm just trying to capture all the information that has to be reported to Heritage Fund. So for example, the types of sessions isn't captured on this form, but there'll be a note in this top corner here of what you said to Heritage Fund you would do. Similar to last time, we've got a budget and then an actual that's automatically added up when you put the information into the spreadsheet. So there's the volunteer contribution, and also you might have in kind as well. It's really important that any volunteer sessions that you have, that you keep the sign-in sheets. We won't ask to see those, but we might need them as backup evidence. So how do you record the volunteer days? Well, sort of a key thing really is to understand different day rates. So unskilled is at 50, and that we're thinking that is just general volunteers involved in a work party. 150 is skilled. So this is people like mentor volunteers, walk leaders, event leaders, brush cutter, or volunteers with similar tickets, and also those involved in surveying. And then the 250 amount day rate, we don't expect this to show really in this spreadsheet, but that's for professionals, for example, solicitors doing pro bono work. What's a little bit counterintuitive is this need to represent different day rates in different columns, even if in the same volunteer party. So in the Joe Blogs example here, we've been digging docks out of a meadow, and the general volunteers, there's been 8 of those working a full day, and then there's been 1 mentor volunteer to that group. So it's just recorded in a separate line, as you can see here. What constitutes a full day is 5 hours volunteering, because we take into account the fact that the volunteer has travelled to get to site, also made their lunch. And what constitutes half a day volunteering is 2 hours, again, because we're working on the basis that the travel time is included into that equation. So on to the hectares tab. So what we can see here, again, similar to the volunteer, is that there might be additional information that's not captured in this form, but essentially is what you've said as part of your partnership agreement of what you will do. What's really important when we're trying to get the information is that you only put new hectares once. Even though you might work on the same bit twice, we're only trying to capture that data once. And we'll need to see some level of evidence. So, you know, a map and a photo. Facebook posts, actually, diarising is just a really good way, or any other social media. It doesn't have to just be Facebook, it could be Twitter, it could be Instagram. But again, that basically, that diarising to say that you're out there that day, that really helps. The columns here are again, what we've said to Heritage Lottery that we would measure, so lowland, wetlands and mosslands, upland, peat, canals, riparian and woodlands. Now sometimes in the woodland category we might be capturing other habitats as well, so essentially there will be a little information here going, please capture all your data in woodlands, and we're saying that we're only capturing the hectares in this once. To add confusion, the nature-based solutions, so that's around flood alleviation, might appear twice. So for example, if you'd said, oh, you know, I've done 10 hectares of riparian improvement and that's helped with flood alleviation, it could appear here a second time. So it could say 10 here and then 10 here as well. So the nature-based solutions can appear twice, but the habitats can only appear once. And then finally, the last tab, which is all about engagement. So this includes things like events, walks, if you're running Zoom workshops and training, that also accounts. Again, here's the target of what we're setting out to achieve. So, for example, we could be having 1,000 people attend our event, and then the amounts that are subject to the volunteer evaluation and also subject to the Nature Connected Index evaluation with Derby University. Again, very similar, just data input between these, and these columns automatically add up. If you've got any problems, just email straight away jgriggs@lancswt.org.uk.